I want to tell you guys a story, or as Eddie Murphy would say, as he's imitating Bill Cosby, I would like to tell you a story. Or as Bernie Mac would say, I ain't looking for applause. I'm trying to tell you a story. So, I'll tell you a story, guys. I have a friend. He was born in Ireland. He's a professor / academic researcher. One of the places he used to work at was at Harvard. This friend of mine, he was born not Jewish, Catholic. He was raised Catholic, and then eventually he decided to start the process of converting to Judaism. But before he even did that, he was at one point a professor at Harvard of anthropology. And lo and behold, about a year after I started my wine business, I had a website at the time. Actually, I should build a website again, or rebuild the website for it. He found my website and he emailed me the following. Hey, hi, Tzvi. I'm assuming I'm talking to Tzvi. I'm a professor at Harvard in the anthropology department, and I am writing my thesis, on what? The wineries of Judea and Samaria. Grapes from Zion, I think he called it. So I may need your help, meaning he may need my help. Mr. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my life. I just started this business, wine business, and then marketing also for wineries. And all of a sudden I'm talking to this professor from Harvard, right, anthropology department. Okay, we get on the phone, start talking. Turns out he loves Israel, he loves Jews. This is who he is. He says to me, listen, after I consulted with him and gave him some advice on X, Y, and Z, sent him some information, sent him some marketing materials, put him in touch with some winemakers so he could talk to them on the phone. He invited me to the lecture that he was going to give to his department. Folks, just to give you context, this is 2017. Either 2017 or 2016, I have to check. For sure it was before 2018. For sure it may have been like immediately after Trump was inaugurated, after he started being the president, so to speak, in the White House. So I got in my car, I took a drive to Harvard. It was my first time ever. I've been to Boston before. I had never been to Harvard. I had never been to Cambridge, the city of Cambridge. I've never been to the campus of Harvard University. It's a running joke in my family now that I was in Harvard for one day. Because, they used to tell me, my parents used to tell me, oh, I said, well, Bill Gates, another one, right? He dropped out of Harvard. And they would tell me, well, at least he went. In order to drop out, you need to have gone. So, I now I can claim I went to Harvard for a day. Okay. So, I show up to this lecture. Took a 4-hour drive. Show up to the lecture. Actually, I believe that the evening before, I got an Airbnb. I stayed there overnight. So the evening before, my friend, the professor, and I got beers. We were just talking about Israel and all the rest of it. He was telling me about what was going on campus already at that time. And just in general, how people, his colleagues feel about him with regards to Israel, and how his colleagues feel about Israel, and et cetera, et cetera. He told me something to the effect of, there was an undercurrent. It wasn't so overt, but there was an undercurrent of stuff, right? Sentiment. You can imagine what. Okay. So, the next day, the lecture. The lecture is around, 11 o'clock in the morning, noon, something like that, just before lunch. And, he proceeds with the lecture. Actually, who was attending the lecture? A lot of, the people who were going, candidates for their PhD candidates in the anthropology department. and some interdisciplinary students, and a couple of just people like myself, or people just interested in this kind of thing, who heard about it from the community, etc., etc. Actually, some people there who were pro-Israel, and I remember this one older gentleman sitting next to me, whatever it is. He was there just, out of interest. So, he goes through the lecture, very nice lecture about the wineries, about the history, literal history, archaeology, anthropology, past, present, future, talking about the Tanakh, the Bible, all this kind of things. Very academic, but also, very kind of like, it wasn't so dry, but it's very academic. I can show you guys the video if you want. I have the video. I taped a little bit of it. So, okay, comes the question and answer portion. Every other question, or maybe I would say 75 or 80% of the questions had the terminology in those questions that were posed by these PhD candidate students, the word the Zionist enterprise. Like, I'm listening to this term, the Zionist enterprise, all I can think of was Star Trek. The USS Enterprise, or I don't know. Like, it's like a what is it? Or the like a aircraft carrier. The Zionist enterprise. As if it's like some this weird foreign colonial occupying thing. So they kept on going about the Zionist enterprise, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a science lecture. This is an anthropology lecture. This is the anthropology department. Things are either relatively correct or not, right? None of these things are a matter of opinion, right? We have the anthropology of the land of Israel. We understand who is it that lived there, where did they live, why did they live there, what was their religion, what was their government, history, all these archaeology, artifacts. Folks, we have this whole body of work that points to a certain group of people, or maybe various groups of people living on this land, right? And on top of that, we have things that point to who's indigenous, right? We know who's indigenous. We know, even if you're the worst, I don't know, lefty academic, you know who's indigenous in the land of Israel. You know that, right? And again, this is anthropology. It's not it wasn't a political science classroom. It wasn't anything of the sort. It wasn't anything that lends itself to opinion. It was more the things that lend. Now you can say in science there's different theories, right? Folks, certain branches of sciences, there are different theories that people come up with. Physics, or maybe even biology, medicine, whatever it is, right? Different opinions, like you seek a second opinion from a doctor or some kind of scientist. They disagree on these things. Folks, anthropology, you could say, well, there's also theories about that and that and this, that, and the other. But again, guys, we have things that point to reality on the ground, undeniable reality on the ground. And here they were 2017 PhD candidates talking about the Zionist enterprise. And then here's the kicker, guys, and I'll end with this. One of the heads of the department, an older lady in her 60s or 70s, I don't mean older, like, she was not the age of the students, let's say. And you would think that this is a person who's been around, right? And she had a Jewish last name. I don't remember what it was, but I remember distinctly it was a Jewish last name. She says something, because he was talking about Shiloh, the place, Shiloh. The place that was the capital of Israel for 369 years. We have archaeological proof of this. It's not just something in the Bible like a Narnia place, right? She says, but these artifacts, they're only from 200, 300 years ago. As soon as I heard that, guys, I raised my hand, and in front of the entire class, in front of the entire lecture, it was relatively a small room. It wasn't a big room. Maybe 25, 30 people, kind of packed inside. I said, Professor, to the head of the department, one of the heads. I said, with all due respect, I was helping Professor, his name's Ian McGonigle, my friend. I was helping Professor McGonigle on this project. I was consulting, and I got to tell you, the stuff that's found is from the Byzantine era. The thing that you saw, the mosaic on the ground with a Star of David, is from a Byzantine church when they took over the land. When we were kicked out, the Byzantines took over. It's a Byzantine church, but they found in there a Star of David mosaic there, okay? But you can go even further back, and what did they find there? Literally the place where what was? The Mishkan, the tabernacle, right? Was. Before there was a temple in Jerusalem, there was a tabernacle there, the Mishkan, and you had Eli the priest, or some people call it Eli, if you guys read Americans, you guys read the Bible. Eli HaKohen was there, okay? And we have archaeological evidence of this, folks. I have like a little, you're not supposed to do this, but I did this. When I was in Shiloh, I took a little piece of a shard from there, okay? The thing is from the time of the Tanakh, from the time of the Bible, my friends. What is the point of this entire story? The point of this entire story is, my friends, this crap, okay, in Harvard and in other places like it, in Ivy League schools and other universities, goes way back, probably even further back than 2017. But already in 2017, I saw what was going on. I sat in a 30-minute or an hour lecture in the anthropology department, not the political science department, in the anthropology department, and I already saw where this is going. I heard the term Zionist enterprise. I heard the head of the department speaking nonsense out of her tuchus about this, that, and the other, okay? And all kinds of people. Honestly, guys, I'm even surprised that they allowed him to do this lecture. That was a shock. I told him, that was a shock to me. He's like, yeah, I had to push for it. And then they were going to have some sort of event or something. And then actually the Students for Justice in Palestine, made a fuss about it. Or maybe, I think it was like it was going to be somewhere else. It was going to be a second lecture. They canceled it. So already at that time, my friends, you saw already things were going on. There was already something bubbling under the surface. And we're talking about 6 years before October 7th. So, guys, this is nothing new. And frankly, a friend of mine asked, who are these people that are heading these departments, these professors? My friends, these are the professors. These are the people that are indoctrinating the students. These people who were themselves students during the whole commie uprising in America, right? Where everybody was into Chairman Mao and all the rest of it, right? In the 70s, 60s and 70s. Now you could say, well, America didn't have to go to Vietnam. It's a different story. But guys, it was a breeding ground. The late 60s and early 70s, and then onward, was a breeding ground for commies, which eventually became wokes and anti-Semites of all types and self-hating Jews, unfortunately. And these students then became PhDs, and then they became tenure professors, and some of them became the heads of the departments. And folks, this is who's running these departments, liberal arts, departments in these universities. Again, not a political science course, not the political science department. Anthropology, guys, archaeology, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of sciences, actual basically hard sciences. Folks, nothing new. Absolutely astounding. I came away, on the one hand, I was like a little bit shocked. On the other hand, I was pleasantly surprised by my friend, the lecture that he gave. Very incredible stuff. He ended up I highly recommend that he ended up making a documentary about these wineries, which I also kind of was, helped a little bit. And, B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to continue. He's going to continue. I think, I'll be speaking very soon. And, but yeah, guys, this is nothing new on these campuses. And thank you to the professors, the fruitcake professors who were the students, the commie students who became then the teachers. And this is the result. This is what we have. And now it's hit its crescendo. Anyway, guys, just wanted to give that story. And this is nothing new. And, I'm sure they have more where that came from. All right, guys. Peace.